Walsh here for our weekly Chairman's Update. It's been a busy day today in Olympia and here in Bellevue. Down in Olympia, today was the so-called Gun Day, which is really anti-gun day. Lately, it's been the day every legislative session when the Democrats in Olympia bring forward all their anti-gun bills, and they try to put them all in one day of hearings, I guess to sort of pack the pain into one punch. And it was pretty painful. 5 bills are their top priority bills for this session, all really bad in terms of violating your constitutional right to keep and bear a firearm in defense of yourself, your family, your community, and the state in general. That's what the Washington State Constitution says. And so what I want to talk about, having survived this day in Olympia, is are those constitutional rights, or maybe I should say foundational rights, that really unite us all here in Washington. While Washington has been known as a progressive state throughout its history in many ways, it's also been a constitutional and foundational state, a place that believes in your right to bear arms. The Washington State Constitution is stronger than the federal Constitution in how it describes the individual citizen's right to keep a gun in defense of himself or herself. But it's more than just gun rights. There's some good news on a couple of other fronts just in the last few days. Initiative 2113, the initiative to restore police pursuits of criminals and criminal suspects, was finally certified, officially certified, by the State Secretary of State and delivered to the legislature for consideration. The Republicans in the House of Representatives in Olympia tried to run a special motion to give a specific instruction to the House committee considering 2113, not only to consider it, but to actually give it a hearing and move it along the process of being approved by the legislature. That motion was put on the floor of the House and lost on a party line vote. So every Democrat voted to not give 2113 a hearing, and every Republican voted to give it a hearing. At the same time, that initiative, whatever the legislature does, is officially certified now and is moving through the process. If the legislature in Olympia can't figure out how to respond to 2113, that initiative will be on the ballot in November of this year, and you will have a chance to vote to restore reasonable police pursuits. And that is a foundational value, I think, here in Washington, because Washington's always been a place where crime was relatively low, a safe place to live, a good place to live. And 2113 helps restore that. Just lately, the second of the 6 initiatives has been officially certified, and that's Initiative 2117, that would repeal the disastrous Inslee-Ferguson cap-and-trade scheme. 2117 is one of the most popular of the current initiatives. Lots of signatures in support of it. And it, by getting rid of that awful cap-and-trade tax scheme, speaks to another foundational principle of Washington and Washington's notion of itself as a state. That is, it's always been a pretty good place to live in terms of the cost of living. It's been an inexpensive, reasonably priced place to live. The cap-and-trade tax scheme, of course, made our gasoline and diesel prices either the highest or near highest in the United States. So that's not good for cost of living. That's not keeping Washington a reasonable place in terms of cost of living. 2117 does. It restores that foundational value that Washington is a good place to live for working families, not too expensive. So all of these things that are happening right now in the state, in Olympia, have to do with foundational values. Our support of your right to defend yourself with a firearm, that's a foundational value. That's a constitutional value. Our support of places being safe, of crime being low in Washington, that's a foundational value. And our support of the cost of living being reasonable in Washington, that's a foundational value. I promise you, when we focus on these foundational values, these key principles that bind us all together, we will have greater and greater success politically, electorally, but even beyond elections and politics, we'll have greater success as people in Washington. We will fix what's broken in Washington. We will restore what's great about living in this beautiful state. We're blessed to live here. It's a beautiful place on this planet to be. And it's always been a friendly and easy place, pleasant place to live. Republicans in Washington are going to restore that ease of living, that pleasantness, the good things about living here in Washington. That's my commitment to you, and that's every Republican's commitment to every person in Washington. Things are looking good, even in Olympia right now. So be of good cheer, be of good spirit, and the next few months, the rest of this year, are going to be great for all of us. Talk to you again soon.